During the dark days of World War II, Europe was shaken by the rise of a military force that seemed invincible, the Third Reich. Under the leadership of Adolf Hitler, the Nazi war machine was unleashed with unprecedented speed and ferocity, dominating vast regions of the continent. But what was behind this military might? What hidden secrets allowed them to transform warfare and change the course of history forever? From the imposing Panzer tanks that crushed everything in their path, to the revolutionary V-2 rockets capable of bringing destruction to distant places with terrifying precision, Nazi technology was key to their domination. These advancements not only struck terror into the Allies, but also redefined the rules of combat. Join us as we uncover the scientific and technological innovations of the Third Reich that fueled its military power, revealing how the Nazis used science to gain an advantage in the most destructive war humanity has ever known. If you're interested in learning about the darkest secrets of this era, stay with us to explore the advancements that forever changed the course of global conflict. What technological secrets did the Nazis keep hidden? How advanced was Nazi science for its time? The Treaty of Versailles, from humiliation to war. World War I formally ended on June 28, 1919, with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles between the Allied powers and Germany. While presented as a peace agreement, the treaty's true aim was to punish Germany for its role in starting the war. Rather than fostering reconciliation, the treaty sought to weaken Germany's military and economic power. The Weimar Republic, born from the collapse of the German Empire, was forced to sign the treaty amid political and economic turmoil. The Treaty of Versailles can be broken down into three main areas: military restrictions, territorial losses, and financial reparations. Militarily, Germany was limited to an army of just 100,000 men, far smaller than the armed forces of other nations. The treaty also prohibited Germany from maintaining an air force and restricted its navy to ships under 10,000 tons, which many Germans viewed as a national humiliation. Territorially, Germany lost several key regions to neighboring countries, including France, Belgium, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Denmark. The treaty also stripped Germany of its colonies in Africa and the Pacific, such as German East Africa, now Tanzania, and German Southwest Africa, now Namibia, along with islands like Micronesia and Samoa. These territorial losses created significant social upheaval, as families were separated and long-held territories were ceded. One of the most contentious elements of the treaty was the War Guilt Clause, which held Germany solely responsible for the war. This clause paved the way for the Allies to demand reparations from Germany to compensate for the war's damages. The economic consequences were catastrophic. Hyperinflation, widespread poverty, and economic collapse crippled Germany. The Weimar Republic, unable to manage these burdens, faced political instability, providing fertile ground for extremist movements like the Nazi Party. The harsh conditions set by the Treaty of Versailles contributed to the rise of Adolf Hitler, who came to power in 1933. Promising to restore Germany's strength, Hitler quickly set about dismantling the treaty's restrictions. His regime began rearming Germany, reactivating the arms industry, and expanding the military. In 1934, Hitler appointed Bernhard Rust as Minister of Reich Science, Education and Culture, focusing on military research and technological development.
Hitler uses science to conceive, test, and in some cases deploy.
Many Jewish scientists and professors were expelled from universities to redirect resources into military innovation. As Germany's rearmament progressed, European nations grew alarmed. Although the Allies initially tried to uphold the Treaty of Versailles, Germany's growing military power led to open violations of the treaty, sparking a new arms race in Europe. In response, France constructed the Maginot Line, a series of fortifications along its border with Germany, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Built between 1929 and 1939, the Maginot Line was designed to block any German invasion, with the assumption that German forces would attack through Belgium, where British forces would intervene. However, when Germany invaded Belgium in May 1940, the Germans bypassed the Maginot Line by advancing through the Ardennes forest, a region thought impassable for a mechanized army. The speed and surprise of the German advance overwhelmed the French, and within weeks, Germany flanked the Maginot Line, leading to France's surrender on June 22, 1940. The Treaty of Versailles, meant to ensure peace, ultimately set the stage for World War II. The harsh military and economic penalties imposed on Germany, combined with the national humiliation, fueled a desire for revenge under Hitler's leadership. The failure of the Allies to enforce the treaty and Germany's rapid rearmament marked the beginning of a new era of tension and conflict in Europe. The technological advantage of the Germans. During World War II, the German military was at the forefront of technological innovation, developing some of the era's most advanced weapons and systems. These innovations, though many did not ultimately alter the course of the war, left a lasting legacy in the evolution of modern warfare. From jet aircraft to long-range missiles, German technological advancements played a crucial role in shaping military technology. One of the most groundbreaking German innovations was the Messerschmitt Me 262, the world's first operational jet fighter. With speeds exceeding 540 miles per hour, it was far faster than any Allied aircraft at the time. However, its potential was not fully realized due to production delays, resource shortages, and sustained bombing of German factories. The first Me 262 entered service in August 1944, too late to alter the war's outcome, but it marked the beginning of the jet age in aviation. The V-2 rocket, developed by engineer Werner von Braun, was another revolutionary German technology. The world's first operational ballistic missile, it could travel over 320 kilometers and reach supersonic speeds. Initially conceived as a weapon of revenge against Allied air raids, the V-2 was first used in combat in September 1944 when it struck Paris. While it had issues such as low accuracy and high production costs, the V-2 laid the groundwork for post-war missile development, influencing space exploration and long-range missile technology.
According to Boyne, von Braun's focus was more on the science than winning the war.
Germany also made significant strides in radar technology. The Würzburg and Mammut radar systems allowed the Luftwaffe to detect and track enemy aircraft with remarkable precision, providing a significant tactical advantage. This capability was vital in intercepting Allied bombers. Additionally, the Germans pioneered infrared technology with the Zielgerät 1229 Vampire night vision scope used on the Sturmgewehr 44, one of the first night vision systems deployed in combat. This innovation enabled German troops to operate effectively in darkness. Another notable German advance was the Fritz X bomb, one of the earliest precision-guided munitions. Used to sink the Italian battleship Roma in 1943, it marked an early step toward modern smart bombs. While the Fritz X was not perfected, its design influenced later developments in guided weapons. In armored warfare, German tanks such as the Tiger I and Panther became legendary. Known for their heavy armor and powerful guns, these tanks were feared by the Allies. The Tiger II, King Tiger, was particularly formidable, able to withstand direct hits from Allied cannons. The Sturmgeschütz III, the world's first operational assault gun, was another German innovation. It combined mobility with firepower, playing a key role in infantry support and anti-tank operations. Germany also pioneered new combat tactics using advanced technologies. One example was the Knickebein radio navigation system, which allowed German bombers to hit precise targets even in the dark or during poor weather. This technology was a precursor to modern GPS systems and proved highly effective during the Blitz over Britain. While many of these innovations were not fully exploited during the war, their impact on military technology was profound. Germany's advancements in aviation, missile technology, radar, and armored warfare set the stage for post-war technological developments, influencing the design of weapons and systems used in subsequent conflicts. The revolution of armored warfare in World War II. World War II marked a pivotal shift in armored warfare, with the German army playing a key role in this transformation. Beginning in the 1930s, German engineers and strategists, led by General Heinz Guderian, pioneered the concept of using tanks as the core of a Blitzkrieg or lightning war. Guderian's vision emphasized mobility, speed, and coordination, fundamentally changing modern warfare. In the war's early stages, German tanks like the Panzer II, III, and IV were central to executing this strategy. Although these models lacked advanced armor or firepower, their speed and ability to coordinate swift attacks made them highly effective in the invasions of Poland, France, and the Soviet Union. Among these, the Panzer IV became the most versatile, able to evolve and remain relevant as the war progressed. However, the German tanks soon faced a serious challenge with the Soviet T-34, introduced during Operation Barbarossa in 1941. The T-34's sloped armor, maneuverability, and powerful 76.2mm cannon made it superior in many respects to the German models, forcing the Germans to innovate further. In response, Germany developed two iconic tanks, the Tiger I and the Panther. The Tiger I, introduced in 1942, was a heavy tank with 100mm armor and an 88mm cannon, designed to dominate the battlefield at long range. However, its heavy weight and high fuel and maintenance needs limited its mobility. In contrast, the Panther, released in 1943, was a direct answer to the T-34. Combining the best features of both German and Soviet designs, it had sloped armor, a powerful 75mm cannon, and excellent mobility.
This efficiency allowed Germany to produce over 6,000 Panthers.
The Panther became one of the war's most formidable tanks, notably in the Battle of Kursk, 1943, and the Battle of the Bulge, 1944, where German forces used deceptive tactics involving disguised Panthers to confuse Allied forces. Despite their strength, the production of these advanced tanks was limited by resource shortages, bombings of German factories, and logistical issues. The Allies' industrial capacity, especially that of the United States and the Soviet Union, allowed them to outproduce the Germans, compensating for any technological gaps with sheer numbers. While the Tiger and Panther tanks were not decisive in turning the tide of the war, the German innovations in armored warfare left a lasting legacy. Guderian's principles of mobility, armor, and firepower influenced tank design for decades, shaping the development of post-war models like the Soviet T-54/55, the American M60, and the British Centurion. The Blitzkrieg strategy. World War II introduced revolutionary military tactics, with the German army's Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War, being one of the most impactful. Developed by military leaders like Heinz Guderian and Erich von Manstein, Blitzkrieg relied on speed, surprise, and the coordinated use of mechanized forces to overwhelm the enemy before they could react. Blitzkrieg emerged in the 1930s following World War I, as German strategists sought to avoid the stalemate of trench warfare. Influenced by British theorists like B. H. Liddell Hart, Guderian and his colleagues envisioned a fast, mobile war that would minimize human cost. The strategy focused on synchronized use of tanks, aviation, artillery, and ground forces to penetrate enemy defenses, disrupt cohesion, and isolate units. The first large-scale use of Blitzkrieg came in September 1939 with the invasion of Poland. German forces, using Panzer divisions and Stuka bombers, quickly overwhelmed Polish defenses. Within a month, Poland was occupied, and the media broadcasted images of German tanks and bombers, signaling the dawn of a new era of warfare. In 1940, Blitzkrieg tactics were tested in the invasion of France and the Netherlands. The Germans bypassed the Maginot Line by attacking through the Ardennes, a region the French believed impassable for tanks. The German Air Force and Panzer divisions broke through, creating chaos among the Allies. When German forces crossed the Meuse River, the Allies were quickly surrounded. Despite a counterattack at the Battle of Arras and the massive evacuation of Allied forces at Dunkirk, France fell, cementing Blitzkrieg as the dominant tactic for early German victories. However, as the war progressed, Blitzkrieg's limitations became clear. In 1941, during Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, the vast distances, harsh weather, and supply shortages proved insurmountable challenges. Soviet resistance was stronger than expected, and Germany's logistical difficulties hindered the fast-paced operations central to Blitzkrieg. While the Allies adapted to Blitzkrieg, improving anti-tank defenses and coordination, the early psychological impact of Germany's victories remained significant. Yet Blitzkrieg's effectiveness waned as the war shifted to larger, more expansive theaters. Despite its decline, the Blitzkrieg strategy left a lasting legacy in mechanized warfare. Its principles of combined arms, tanks, infantry, and air support became the foundation of modern military tactics. Today, Blitzkrieg is recognized as a precursor to the mechanized warfare strategies employed worldwide. The Waffen-SS, the military force of the Third Reich. The Waffen-SS, armed SS, originally formed as the military wing of the Schutzstaffel, SS, became one of the most infamous and controversial military organizations of World War II. It was renowned for its skill on the battlefield and its unwavering loyalty to Adolf Hitler, but its legacy is irrevocably marred by its direct involvement in war crimes and the Holocaust, overshadowing its military achievements. The history of the Waffen-SS began in the 1930s, when Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, created an elite force dedicated to defending the Nazi regime. Initially a small elite group tasked with protecting Nazi leaders, the Waffen-SS grew rapidly after the outbreak of war, reaching over 900,000 members by the end of the conflict. These recruits came from all over Europe, including various ethnicities and nationalities. The Waffen-SS stood out for its rigorous training, high morale, and fanatical devotion to Nazi ideology. Among its most notable divisions were the Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler, das Reich, Totenkopf, and the infamous 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend. These elite units fought in some of the war's toughest battles, particularly on the Eastern Front and during the Battle of Normandy. One of the Waffen-SS's most significant achievements was its victory in early 1943 at Kharkov. After a series of defeats, the SS Panzer Corps under Paul Hauser launched a successful counter-offensive that recaptured the strategically vital city. This victory, though temporary, bolstered the Waffen-SS's reputation as a skilled and determined fighting force. In December 1944, the Battle of the Bulge, also known as the Ardennes Offensive, represented the last major Nazi attempt to halt the Allied advance. Several Waffen-SS divisions, including the 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler and the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend, launched a surprise attack aimed at splitting Allied forces and capturing the port of Antwerp. While the Waffen-SS's combat effectiveness surprised the Allies and inflicted heavy casualties, the offensive ultimately failed and did not change the course of the war. Despite its battlefield prowess, the Waffen-SS's legacy is inseparable from its role in war crimes and atrocities. In June 1944, the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend under Kurt Meyer was responsible for the massacre of Canadian POWs at the Abbaye d'Ardennes in Normandy, one of the most notorious war crimes committed by the unit. This, along with other acts of brutality, forever tainted the Waffen-SS's reputation. As the Third Reich collapsed, the Waffen-SS fought to the bitter end, defending Berlin in a last-ditch effort to resist the Allied advance. Even as defeat loomed, the Waffen-SS demonstrated fanatical loyalty to the Nazi cause. This tenacity, however, ultimately proved to be both their strength and their downfall. After Germany's surrender, survivors of the Waffen-SS faced post-war trials for their involvement in war crimes and crimes against humanity. Many high-ranking officers, including Hauser, were tried and condemned. Over time, the full extent of the Waffen-SS's participation in the Holocaust and other war crimes came to light, casting a dark shadow over its military legacy and making it one of the most reviled forces in modern military history. The U-boat campaign and the Battle of the Atlantic. The Battle of the Atlantic, fought between the German Kriegsmarine and the Allied navies, was one of the most crucial and bloody conflicts of World War II. This decisive struggle would determine the fate of the British Isles and, ultimately, of the free world. At the heart of this battle were the fearsome German U-boats, which relentlessly preyed on the Atlantic's shipping routes, aiming to cut off the vital supply lines to the Allies. The U-boat campaign was a story of courage, sacrifice, and technological innovation, as both sides fought for a strategic advantage in the war under the sea. The backbone of the German submarine fleet was the Type 7 U-boat, a versatile and robust submerged platform that became a deadly threat to Allied convoys throughout the war. Equipped with powerful torpedoes and a deck gun, the Type 7 was capable of sinking even the most heavily defended convoys. Leading these submarine hunters were men like Otto Kretschmer and Gunther Prien, who through their daring raids earned the respect of their comrades and the fear of their enemies. The U-boat campaign reached its peak during what became known as the Happy Time, a period from July 1940 to October 1941. During this time, German submarines operating in wolf packs inflicted heavy losses on Allied convoys, sinking millions of tons of essential war material and bringing Britain to the brink of starvation. Admiral Karl Dönitz, the mastermind of the U-boat campaign, ominously expressed the key to bringing England to its knees. The only thing that will make England kneel is cutting off its sea lanes. The threat of the U-boats was real and growing, but the tide of the war would begin to change when the Allies introduced new technologies and tactics to counter the threat of these invisible predators. The introduction of radar, The high-frequency direction-finding system, HUF-DUF, and aircraft equipped with surface search radar and depth charges allowed the Allies to gain ground in the Atlantic. As losses mounted, the situation for U-boat crews became increasingly desperate, with 3 out of every 4 submariners never returning from their missions. In an effort to regain the initiative, the Germans introduced the revolutionary Type 21 U-boat, a technological marvel that incorporated an advanced hydrodynamic design, an efficient snorkel system, and significantly higher submerged speeds. This new model was capable of staying submerged for long periods, making it harder to detect. Despite its advanced design, the Type 21 would come too late to change the course of the war. Production of the new submarine was delayed, and the lack of experienced crews limited its impact. The Electroboot, as it was also known, saw limited action but did not alter the final outcome of the U-boat campaign. As the Third Reich collapsed under the relentless Allied attack, the surviving U-boats were either destroyed or surrendered, marking the end of one of the most feared fleets in naval history. The battle for control of the Atlantic had ended, with the Allies emerging victorious, which ensured the continuous supply of vital resources and ultimately contributed to the collapse of the Nazi regime. The tactical innovations of the Luftwaffe and air superiority. In the late 1930s, the Luftwaffe, under the leadership of Hermann Göring, emerged as a formidable force in aerial warfare, playing a key role in the early victories of the Third Reich. The Luftwaffe's success was driven by a combination of innovative tactics and cutting-edge aircraft, revolutionizing the role of air power in modern warfare. One of the Luftwaffe's most impactful innovations was the Stuka, the Junkers Ju-87 dive bomber. This aircraft could dive almost vertically to deliver its bombs with pinpoint accuracy. Its distinctive sirens, known as Jericho trumpets, created a terrifying sound that demoralized enemy troops, making the Stuka not only a weapon of destruction, but also a tool of psychological warfare. The Stuka played a pivotal role in the early Blitzkrieg tactics, especially during the invasions of Poland, France, and the Soviet Union. Another notable figure in the Luftwaffe's tactical success was Hans Ulrich Rudel, the most decorated pilot of the war, who used the Stuka to devastating effect against Soviet tanks, earning him the title the Eagle of the Eastern Front. His precision attacks cemented the Stuka's importance in the German military strategy. In addition to dive bombers, the Luftwaffe deployed formidable fighters like the Messerschmitt Bf 109 and the Focke-Wulf FW 190. These aircraft, known for their speed, agility, and firepower, gave the Luftwaffe a clear advantage in the early years of the war. Erich Hartmann, with 352 aerial victories, became the highest-scoring fighter ace in history, while Adolf Galland, head of the Luftwaffe's fighter branch, led successful missions and boosted pilot morale. Their leadership contributed to the myth of the Luftwaffe's invincibility in the early conflict. The Luftwaffe's tactical success was also due to its organizational structure. Unlike traditional air forces, the Luftwaffe adopted a decentralized command system that allowed pilots to make independent decisions in the heat of battle. This flexibility enabled them to adapt quickly to changing circumstances and seize opportunities, leading to key victories during the Blitzkrieg phase. However, as the war progressed, the industrial strength of the Allies began to tip the balance. The Messerschmitt Me 262, the first operational jet fighter, was a technological leap forward, but its later rival and the ongoing Allied bombing campaigns proved too much for the Luftwaffe to overcome. The Me 262 was unable to halt the devastating strategic bombing raids that crippled German cities and factories, weakening the German war machine. By the end of the war, the Luftwaffe had lost its air superiority. The relentless bombing campaigns and the growing power of the Allied air forces marked a crucial turning point in World War II, diminishing the Luftwaffe's effectiveness and contributing to the collapse of the Third Reich. The forgotten heroes of German logistics and the Opel Blitz. In every successful military campaign, logistics play a crucial role, yet they are often overlooked. During World War II, the German army excelled in logistical operations, which were vital to maintaining their combat effectiveness. Military leaders like Erich von Manstein and Heinz Guderian emphasized speed and flexibility, enabling the Wehrmacht to mobilize quickly and maintain a high degree of mobility on the battlefield. A key component of this logistical success was the development of specialized vehicles, particularly the Opel Blitz truck. This versatile vehicle became essential for transporting supplies, ammunition, fuel, and troops across difficult terrains. from the frozen landscapes of the Eastern Front to the deserts of North Africa. The Opel Blitz was more than just a cargo truck. Its reliable design allowed it to be adapted into mobile workshops, communication vehicles and field kitchens, making it indispensable to German logistics. The Opel Blitz played a central role in keeping the front lines supplied, which was critical for maintaining the Wehrmacht's operational capabilities. Furthermore, the German army was known for its pragmatic approach, often repurposing captured enemy vehicles to reinforce their supply chains and adapt to changing conditions. However, as the war progressed, logistical challenges began to overwhelm the German forces. The war on the Eastern Front, along with Allied bombing raids, severely disrupted supply lines. Shortages of fuel, spare parts, and trained personnel hindered the operation of critical vehicles like the Opel Blitz. Despite efforts to adapt, the logistical system could not keep up with the demands of prolonged warfare. By the end of the war, the failure of German logistics, exacerbated by the constant pressure from the Red Army and Allied bombers, contributed significantly to the collapse of the Wehrmacht. The breakdown of supply chains marked the ultimate downfall of the once formidable German war machine. The Enigma machine, the secret code. In the world of espionage and military intelligence, the ability to keep secrets often determines the outcome of conflicts. During World War II, the Enigma machine became the cornerstone of the Wehrmacht's secret communication system. This highly advanced encryption device was used by the Nazis to encode critical messages, making them virtually impossible to decipher without the correct keys. However, unknown to the Germans, their most secure communication tool would eventually be cracked by the Allies, profoundly altering the course of the war. Developed in the 1920s by German engineers, the Enigma machine used a complex system of rotors and a pin board to generate an almost infinite number of combinations for encrypting messages. This made the machine appear impenetrable, and the Wehrmacht relied on it for everything from military strategies to troop movements, ensuring that their communications were secure from prying eyes. Despite its seeming invulnerability, the Polish cryptanalysts, led by mathematician Marian Rejewski, made significant progress in breaking the Enigma code. Their breakthroughs proved crucial when, with the outbreak of war, they shared their findings with the British. In the UK, at Bletchley Park, a team of brilliant minds, including the legendary Alan Turing, advanced the work of the Poles. Using their mathematical expertise, they developed the Turing bombe, a groundbreaking decryption device designed to break the Enigma's encryption. This project, known as Ultra, allowed the Allies to intercept and decrypt German communications. With the ability to read these messages, the Allies gained a strategic advantage, enabling them to anticipate German movements, plan more precise attacks, and neutralize many German operations before they could be carried out. The consequences of breaking the Enigma code were monumental. Allied victories in key battles, such as the Battle of the Atlantic and D-Day, were heavily influenced by the intelligence gathered from the decrypted messages. The Allies could disrupt German plans, saving countless lives and shortening the duration of the war. By gaining access to German intelligence, they were able to outmaneuver the Wehrmacht and force the Nazis onto the defensive. The decryption of the Enigma also had a significant psychological impact on the German military. The Nazis trusted the security of their communications, but in reality, the Allies had access to their strategic plans. This undermined German confidence and, in many cases, rendered their technological advantages ineffective. The ability to read the Germans' secret messages was one of the key factors in the eventual Allied victory. The story of the Enigma machine is a testament to human ingenuity and the power of collective effort. The code breakers at Bletchley Park achieved one of the greatest feats of military intelligence in history, changing the course of the war and saving millions of lives. The decryption of the Enigma not only disrupted the Nazi war machine, but also exemplified how knowledge and innovation can be as powerful as the most advanced weaponry in warfare. The leaders and discipline of the German army in World War II. The German army during World War II stood out for its extraordinary leadership and unyielding discipline, factors that played a crucial role in its victories. The Wehrmacht was built on a foundation of innovative strategies and rigorous military training, which made its soldiers a formidable force. Commanders like Erwin Rommel and Heinz Guderian were key to this success, as their ideas revolutionized the way battles were fought. This combination of exceptional leadership and disciplined training made the German army one of the most formidable forces in military history. Erwin Rommel, known as the Desert Fox, distinguished himself as one of the brightest leaders of World War II. His rise in the German army was meteoric, thanks to his innovative strategy and ability to inspire his troops. Rommel gained fame during the African Desert Campaign, where his guerrilla tactics and rapid attacks surprised British forces, marking a milestone in the use of mobile warfare. His ability to adapt to the harsh terrain and his understanding of the battlefield solidified him as a legendary leader. Heinz Guderian was the primary driving force behind Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War, a revolutionary strategy that combined mobility and firepower through tanks and air forces. His work, particularly his book Achtung Panzer, completely transformed mechanized warfare. Blitzkrieg allowed the German army to achieve rapid, decisive victories, especially in Poland, France, and the Soviet Union. Guderian's vision of coordinating mechanized forces laid the foundation for modern warfare and left a profound mark on military tactics. Iron discipline was another fundamental pillar of the German army's success. German soldiers, known as Landser, were trained under a strict regimen that included physical preparation, advanced tactics, and mental conditioning. This comprehensive approach allowed them to carry out orders with remarkable efficiency and maintain composure under pressure. The resilience and loyalty of the German soldiers were so strong that they could face extremely difficult situations on the battlefield. The training of German soldiers wasn't limited to physical exercises. Strategic preparation played a crucial role. War games and tactical drills were used to help officers and soldiers visualize and practice real combat scenarios. This focus on simulating battles ensured that soldiers were always ready to adapt to the fast-changing conditions of the battlefield. The German army was also characterized by a culture of learning. From the early stages of the war, the importance of studying history and applying its lessons to current combat was promoted. Constant adaptation to new technologies and tactics was key to maintaining their advantage over enemies. The German army always focused on improving its strategies and tactics based on the evolution of the war, which allowed it to remain competitive over the years. The legacy of figures like Rommel and Guderian, along with the discipline that defined German soldiers, remains one of the most fascinating aspects of the German army in World War II. The combination of exceptional leadership and thorough preparation allowed them to achieve extraordinary feats, making the Wehrmacht one of the most formidable military forces in history. The story of their training, their ability to quickly adapt to new circumstances, and their dedication to continuous improvement continues to be a model of study in the military world. Throughout history, war has been a driving force of innovation, spurring scientific advancements that have transformed the world. In particular, World War II not only brought devastation, but also gave birth to technologies that forever changed the course of humanity. The creation of more powerful weapons, the development of new materials, and the discovery of nuclear energy are just a few examples of how the conflict served as a catalyst for progress. However, these advancements came with enormous sacrifices. Behind every innovation, there was human suffering, a reality often forgotten when we celebrate technological achievements. To this day, the advancements born from wartime continue to influence our lives, reminding us how, in the pursuit of supremacy, humanity has redefined its own future for better or for worse.